Hi, and welcome to another video by Jimthecarguy. Today we're going to be working on a 2008 it's a Toyota Highlander. It's four-wheel drive. Don't know if it makes any difference, but we're going to be replacing the struts on this. Actually, as you can see, we're going to be doing the rear struts. It's not really too bad of a job. It's just a little bit time consuming, and this time of the year is the winter time, so we got to be careful that nothing snaps because everything in the back is made of plastic. That's why I have the door open so that the heat's blowing inside, so we're warming up the plastic trim panel so nothing breaks. So let me show you inside what we're going to do first. Fairly easy. We're going to take off the one panel to gain access to the three bolts on the top of the strut itself to remove those, and then we're going to come in and we're going to disassemble on the side here. But let me show you inside what we're going to do first. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing this trim panel inside here. Sorry about that. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing this trim panel right inside here that holds the that actually covers up this panel here. It covers where we need to remove the bolts up on the top right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around on that side over there, and we're going to gain access to the bolt, and let's get started. Alright, first thing we're going to do is just pull the seat forward just a little bit, just so we can gain access in here to this cover right here. We need to take that cover off. And what you're going to do is just get in here with a very small screwdriver. You hook it underneath this spot right here, and you just lift it, and it comes right off. And that shows you the 10mm bolt right here. And we just take out that 10mm bolt. And then we're going to go around the other side, and we'll take that off. We can just get underneath here with a small screwdriver, and it just pops right off. And as you can see, there is your three bolts right here on the top of the strut. So we're going to loosen these up, and then we're going to lift the car up, and we're going to leave one bolt still in there, one nut I should say, we're going to leave on there. We're going to take everything else off, but we're going to leave one nut just lightly held on there so that the suspension doesn't drop while we're underneath there working on it. So let me grab a ratchet and let's get started on that. Okay, as you can see, the bolts are right up on top right here, and you can use a ratchet to remove them. They come out fairly easy, or if you've got an air gun and you want to use the air, you can do it with the air also. Now remember what I said about the back. We're not going to take it totally off. We're just going to loosen it up like this, and we're going to leave it like that for now. And now we're going to lift the car up, and we're going to do the rest of the work underneath here. As you can see, we have the winter slush that drips off these things, but let's lift it up and we're going to get started on it. Okay, what we're going to do next now is we're going to disconnect this sensor right here. This for your ABS. We're just going to take that 10mm bolt out, move this to the side. We're going to come down underneath the back here where the brake line connects onto the strut, and we're going to take out that either 10 or 12mm bolt right there, and then we're going to remove the stabilizer link where it attaches right here. So let me grab some tools and let's get started on that. Don't use that bolt because you're going to need to reuse that later. I'm going to just relocate that off to the side for now. Next thing we're going to do is going to take out that these you have to be careful because when you try to get these off, you may strip them out. This is a 14mm, and we're just putting the Allen key into it now just to hold it, and then we're going to actually turn off the nut. You're not going to turn your ratchet, use your nut. because if you strip out this bolt, you'll be changing the stabilizer limit. Now that one came off fairly easy. Most of the time they don't. Just relocate that off to the side for now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these two bolts on the bottom of the strut so we can lower the strut down and pull it out of there. Now I'm going to use an air gun on this here because they're going to be pretty tight. But if you don't have an air gun, you can just use a ratchet. Don't lose the nuts because we're going to need these again also. Take out the top one too. Now we may have to support the lower suspension. No, probably not. Alright, then we're just going to tap these the bolts out. And what you're going to do is leave your nut on there and just tap it to get it to move. Same thing over here, just tap the nut a little bit. And then you can take the nuts off. And we're going to pull those bolts all the way out. Same thing on the bottom one. And now our strut is loose. And then all we have to do is go up in the top and remove that bolt that we took out by hand, and we can remove the strut from the car. So let's do that. Lift the strut up, and you can remove that bolt with a nut, I should say. And now the strut is totally disconnected. What you're going to do is you push the strut down, like that, and you remove it from the car. And that's it for the strut. And we're going to bring it over to the machine, and I'm going to show you how to transfer over the spring to the new strut. So let's get back by the machine, and we'll get started on that. Okay, this is the strut when it's in the machine to actually compress it. If you don't have this machine, don't take a chance on trying to compress this spring without the machine. You need to have a tool to compress it, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself. All right? So now that we got this in the machine here, we're going to actually compress the spring. We're going to compress it down to the point where we can take this nut off and we can remove the strut and replace it with the new one. So let's do that right now. Tighten it down. Just so that the strut is loose. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that nut off the top and we'll remove the strut. Now, watch the way you take the strut out because you're going to need to put it back in the same way. This is the replacement strut. We're just going to expand it now. We're going to put the strut back in the exact same way that it's coming out of here because we have to connect. Right over here is where the spring has got to connect into. So we're going to put that back the same way. We're also going to watch how this piece here goes because it has to fit up into the top plate right into that there. So let's do that. We're going to switch this piece over onto our new strut. Just comes right off. now we have this switched over to the new strut. We're going to put this strut in exactly as the other one came out. Now remember, we had the spring has got to fit right into this piece right over here, and that's in the back there. So let's put this up and through here. Turn until that piece on top there lines up. And we're just going to catch the nut up on top just temporarily for now. Just to catch it, this is trash. Alright, we're going to turn our spring to where it's supposed to be. And now we're going to tighten this nut up. Now what I was turning up there was this piece here. You see how on one side of the circle of the 360 is cut out? It has to fit into the bearing plate right there. That's why I was rotating it. Now we're going to tighten up the nut up on top here. Take this off. And we're going to line up the bottom of the strut with the spring, and then we'll just release the pressure on this. Show you what I was doing down there. Down on the bottom right here. This has to line up with that little indentation on the bottom of the strut. Alright, so now we got it mounted up. The spring mounted onto the new strut. Let's go put it back in the car, and we'll start to wrap this job up. Okay, now we're back over by the car. And before we do anything, we're going to put the strut back in just the way we took it out. Remember, we took it out like this. We snaked it past the axle. And then we rotated it up like this. And now we can put it up through the top here with the bearing. We can just hold it like that for now. Now remember, we're going to catch our screw up on the top right there. What we're going to do is we're going to put the strut back through here, and we're going to catch one nut up on the top. Catch one nut on the top. Right, you're just catching it loosely, you're not tightening it tight. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the two bolts back in here we previously took out. You may have to tap them in. I'm just going to tap it in lightly, over to the other side, and we're going to put our bottom bolt back in. You can tap that a little bit too. And we can put those two nuts on the other side that we previously removed. Now we can hold the nut here on this side here, and we can shoot it on tight with the air gun. If you don't have an air gun, then you can tighten it up by hand. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a stabilizer link back through the way it came out. Now if you have an air gun, you can shoot that on, but if not, we'll tighten it up with the ratchet. I did change the link on here, just so you know. Remember before I had to hold it through the center right here? This one here, you hold it with a wrench on the outside here. And you hold it like this, and then you can shoot this on all the way. Tight. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to reattach our 10mm bolt right here. Doesn't have to be real tight, just snug, just to hold it there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to reattach that bolt on the bottom. That's 12mm that holds the brake line. Okay. Now everything down here is all back together. 2 bolts to hold the strut to the knuckle are tight. 10mm bolt that holds the ABS sensor cable out of the way, that's tight. Our small nut that holds the brake line away to the strut is tight. Stabilizer link is tight. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the car down. We're going to go up top, and we're going to put that top piece back together and tighten that up. Okay, then we can catch these bolts up on top right here. If you have an air gun, you could use an air gun. If not, you can just tighten it with a ratchet. And then once they're all tight, then we can reattach our cover like this. It fits right in those grooves. Push it in, tap it down, and then we're going to screw our 10mm bolt right in here. Screw that in tight. And the last thing we're going to do is put our cover back on that we previously took off. It just snaps in. And that's it. We're all set with the back here. Alright. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go around to the other side, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side that we did on this side. Alright, thanks for watching. If I could do anything for you, any information, just drop me a line. Be more than happy to talk to you about it. And don't forget, hit my subscribe button. Thank you. See you on the next one.